Good afternoon. Peace talks are being held in Belarus this lunchtime as the Ukrainian president urged Russian troops to lay down their weapons, save their lives and leave Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky also called for Ukraine to get immediate membership of the EU. The country has been hit by further shelling overnight and thousands of refugees are still trying to flee the country every day. In Russia, the economic sanctions have started to hit. Martha Fairley has the latest.
Arriving by air, the Ukrainian government delegation flew in this morning for diplomatic talks with Russia on the border with Belarus. This is where it's hoped the two countries might find some way to end the conflict that has now entered its fifth day. Before the meeting began, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the invading force directly, telling them 4,500 Russian invaders killed. Leave your hardware and leave. Don't trust your commanders. Don't trust your propaganda. Just save your lives. Leave. Yesterday, more Russian troops in armoured vehicles were filmed moving south towards Ukraine's capital, Kiev. And in Kharkiv, a convoy was seen driving through a residential area. Invading Russian forces are said to have taken over the southeastern town of Berdyansk. But all major cities remain under Ukrainian control, including the capital, where the streets are quiet despite the end of a two-day curfew. Vladimir Putin's decision to put his nuclear forces on heightened alert is being described as part of a battle rhetoric.
Well, he didn't say high alert, he said he put them on special combat duty. We don't recognise that in their doctrine, it's not in their doctrine. We assess at the moment that what he was saying is, first of all, to the world, I've got a deterrent, don't you forget it. And secondly, a distraction from what's going on in Ukraine. You know, we're all talking about it. We're not talking about the fact he has not achieved his goals as yet.
In the western city of Lviv, crowds of women and children wait for a train to Poland, where uncertainty but safety awaits on the other side of the border. The UN Refugee Agency says that more than 500,000 people have now fled Ukraine since Russia invaded last week. Martha Fairley, ITV News.
As you've been hearing, the curfew in the Ukrainian capital lifted earlier today in Kiev. People can now leave their homes and shelters. Our Europe editor James Mate sent this update a few minutes ago.
Well, all eyes are on those peace talks a couple of hundred kilometres north of here. We wait to see, really, whether the Russians are serious about negotiating an end to this fighting or whether this is an attempt to blame the Ukrainians for any breakdown and thus justify a new and more brutal offensive. In the meantime, Kiev overnight and this morning has been relatively quiet, though there has been some very heavy shelling, we understand, from Kharkiv up in the northeast. The other place to watch today, of course, is Moscow. What is the response going to be to the economic pressure being put on them over the weekend by the EU? We understand that the ruble is collapsing in value, more or less. The stock market probably would too, though they haven't dared open that. And the key question there is, do ordinary Russians, do the Russian elite blame the West for what's happening to them economically, or do they blame the Kremlin?
James Mate in Kiev. Here, the UK government is coming under pressure to follow the EU and let more Ukrainian refugees come to the country. Let's get the latest on that from our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan. Carl, what are you hearing?
Well, it sounds like the government offer to Ukrainians who might want to come here is still very much in development. As things stand, they have said that Ukrainians with close relatives can come here, but the small print suggests that that's really only spouses and partners and families involving people who are under 18 and nothing broader. The EU, by contrast, has said all Ukrainians can come for 3 years without having even to claim asylum. So I think the UK will broaden the offer. The Home Secretary is due on her feet in the House of Commons later this afternoon, but I don't think they'll go as far as the EU. Where Britain has a good argument to say it's been leading the way is on the sanctions. Those were toughened again today. The Prime Minister saying it would now be illegal for British people or businesses to do business with the Russian Central Bank or Ministry of Finance.
Carl Dinnan, thank you very much. I'll be back with a full roundup of the very latest from Ukraine and on those talks at 1:30. Hope you can join me then. Bye-bye for now.